Have you ever said something that you later regretted? Have you ever sat silently in the middle of the night, thinking, if only I had stayed quiet back then, how much better things would have been? We've all experienced that feeling, when words slip out like arrows, only to pierce not others, but our own hearts with guilt, remorse, and sometimes even hurt the people we love the most. We live in a noisy age, where everyone wants to speak, everyone rushes to express an opinion, everyone is eager to argue, to prove, to assert themselves. In such a world, silence can feel out of place. But ironically, it is that very silence that becomes the refuge of wisdom. It is the first step that helps us break free from recklessness, escape the restless ego that's desperate to show off, and return to a state of genuine inner peace. The ancients once said, "Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know." Silence does not mean you don't know how to speak. It means you know when to speak and when to remain silent. Because a single word said at the right time and place can save a relationship. But one wrong word can destroy a person's entire life. Today, Trung Pham invites you to begin a journey into the power of silence. A path with no noise, no trumpet sound, but one that opens the door to deep wisdom and true personal growth. Learn to be silent, for it is the beginning of wisdom. Welcome to Ancient Philosophy, a sanctuary for those who love timeless wisdom, who enjoy reflecting deeply, and who seek inner peace amidst a world full of chaos and noise. Here, we share profound teachings from Confucius, Lao Tzu, Zhuangzi, and other Eastern sages, blended with practical life lessons to help you understand yourself better, understand others more deeply, and slowly build a strong, calm, and resilient inner world. If you're seeking a way to live fully but lightly, to walk with strength without the need to fight, then this channel is meant for you. Don't forget to subscribe to Ancient Philosophy, like the video if you find it valuable, leave a comment to share your thoughts so we can learn from each other, and turn on notifications so you never miss the timeless wisdom that still speaks powerfully to modern life. Chapter 1. Silence, the language of those who understand life. There's a saying that goes, "Those who understand much often speak little. Those who see deeply often remain silent." Indeed, the more we mature, the less we feel the need to show off. Because when you truly understand, you don't need to prove yourself. When you're truly strong, you don't need to argue. And when your mind is calm enough, you'll choose silence. The wise don't need many words, because words don't add real value. In life, we meet many types of people. Some rush to boast about even the smallest achievement. Some argue before they even fully understand the issue. But then, there are those who simply sit still, observe in silence, and yet command both caution and respect from others. Why? Because true value doesn't lie in what is said, but in one's presence, a presence cultivated through silence. The wise know, the more you talk, the easier it is to expose your weaknesses. The more you try to prove, the more you lose your inner stability. They choose to speak when needed and stay silent when it's enough, because they understand words do not enhance true worth. Only actions and character build lasting credibility. The shallow often seek to prove, the deep choose silence and observation. Shallowness is often accompanied by noise. Shallow people are afraid of being overlooked, so they constantly talk to seek approval. They argue endlessly, feeding their egos, but leave nothing meaningful behind. On the other hand, deep people are like underground water, quiet but full of strength. They don't rush to speak, nor do they hastily show off. They observe to understand. They listen to empathize, and they only speak when their words carry true value. Thus, the silence of the deep is not empty, but full. It is the crystallization of wisdom, experience, and a soul that has weathered many storms. Story: Confucius, a smile instead of words. It is told that one day a disciple asked Confucius, "Master, if you were entrusted to govern a country, what would be the very first thing you'd do?" Everyone around expected a profound answer, but Confucius didn't respond right away. He simply smiled, remained silent, and calmly looked at the disciple. Only after a moment, he slowly replied, "The first thing would be to correct the use of words," he explained. When speech is rectified, actions follow naturally. When actions are right, governance flows smoothly. All disorder and chaos stem from people speaking carelessly and living dishonestly. To correct the world, first correct the words. And to correct the words, first, one must learn to be silent and reflect. The story may sound simple, but it reveals deep wisdom. The more intelligent a person is, the less they rush to speak. They know that words are not just sound, but the reflection of both heart and mind. To speak a word means to take responsibility for it. Lesson: silence is not weakness. It is the strength of inner calm. Many fear silence, thinking it means weakness. But in truth, the one who can stay silent at the right moment is the strongest. They are strong because they can control their emotions. They are strong because they can tame their ego. They are strong because they don't let meaningless words dictate their actions. In silence, they observe and see what the talkative miss. In silence, they understand and choose the wisest course of action. Not rash, not impulsive. Some things, the more you explain, the more complicated they become. Some moments, the more you defend, the more wrong you appear. And some relationships fall apart just because one didn't know how to be silent at the right time. So, learning to be silent isn't about retreating. It's about advancing with steadier steps. Silence is not a sign of defeat, but a mark of someone who has mastered themselves. Those who understand life don't speak much because they let their actions speak instead. In a noisy world, sometimes silence is the wisest answer. Chapter 2. When to stay silent. Silence is an art, but to truly master this art, we must learn when to remain silent. Because silence at the right time is wisdom, while silence at the wrong time can be weakness. Not everyone knows when to speak and when to stop. The less someone understands themselves, the more they tend to talk. The more mature a person becomes, the better they are at choosing the right moment. So, when is the golden time to choose silence? 1. When you're angry, because words in anger easily wound angers. Emotions often make us say things we wouldn't even want to hear ourselves. When anger flares, the mouth moves faster than the mind, and words spoken in anger often carry invisible daggers that cut deep into others' hearts. A moment of anger may last only a few minutes, but the damage caused by harsh words can destroy years of a relationship. A wise person is not someone who never gets angry, but someone who knows when to stop during anger. They stay silent, not out of suppression, but out of understanding. Wait a moment until the anger settles. The words will be gentler, wiser. They choose silence as a shield, protecting both themselves and the other person from unnecessary harm. 2. When you don't understand enough, because speaking too soon exposes ignorance. Many of us make a common mistake. We rush to speak before we fully understand. We hear half a story and jump to conclusions. We know little, yet rush to judge. The world already has too many shallow, careless words, and because of that, so many misunderstandings, conflicts, and breakups have happened. The wise choose to stay silent until they understand fully. They listen, not to reply, but to truly grasp the matter. They are patient, not because they are timid, but because they respect the truth. Only when they see the full picture and understand all sides do they speak, and when they do, their words are calm, insightful, and valuable. 3. When others don't really want to listen, because silence then is a form of respect. In communication, it's not always necessary to speak. Sometimes, the other person doesn't need advice. They just need someone quietly present. There are also times when people have shut their minds. They aren't truly listening. At that point, the more you speak, the more wasted your words become. The more you try to explain, the further they pull away. The sensitive know. Silence is also a way to respect others. It gives them space, time, and the freedom to reflect on their own. Just like when someone is sad, sometimes a silent hand to hold heals more than 100 hollow consoling words. Story: The hot-tempered student and the teacher's wisdom. During a classroom debate, a young student became overly passionate defending his views. He grew aggressive, even insulting others. After the session, he went to his teacher, expecting praise for standing up for justice. But the teacher didn't scold him. He simply looked at the student and said, "When you truly listen, deeply listen, truth will reveal itself on its own. But when you only wait to argue, your words are just echoes of your ego." That teaching was like a bucket of cold water, calming the student's fiery head. He realized he had spoken too much, but left behind nothing but resistance, and that the first lesson he needed to learn wasn't to speak well, but to know when to be silent. Lesson learned. Wise people don't choose silence out of fear, weakness, or avoidance. They choose silence because they know. When angry, words can easily hurt. When lacking understanding, words easily become mistakes. When others aren't ready, words easily become meaningless. And sometimes, silence is the deepest expression of a soul that has understood enough. Silence at the right time is a mark of wisdom. Silence when angry, to preserve peace. Silence when unclear, to avoid error. Silence when words aren't needed, to show respect. In today's modern world, we live amidst endless noise. The noise of news, social media, arguments, and even the constant chatter of our own egos. But the more noise there is, the harder it becomes to truly hear others, to hear life, and to hear ourselves. Silence is not just the absence of words. Silence is the opening of a sacred space, a quiet space for deep listening. Silence is not just about staying quiet. It's about creating space to truly listen. Many believe that being silent simply means not speaking, but that's not true. Some may not utter a word, yet their minds are noisy and restless. Their thoughts race with countless questions and judgments, their egos itching to control the conversation. True silence doesn't lie in the mouth, it lies in the heart. When you're truly silent, you no longer feel the urge to react, to win, or to prove yourself. You are fully present with the other person, with the unfolding moment, with your rising emotions. And in that presence, you begin to hear. Only in silence can we truly hear our inner voice and the unspoken emotions of others. Listening is the greatest gift we can offer someone. But to truly listen, we must first master the art of silence. When you stop reacting, stop analyzing, and stop interrupting, you'll begin to notice the subtle things, a sigh, a distant gaze, a sudden pause in their voice. These are the silent languages of a soul reaching out. And when you listen to yourself in silence, you begin to uncover what daily noise has buried, your true desires, your hidden fears, and the small joys you've overlooked. These voices emerge only in the sanctuary of stillness. The story, Zhuangzi and the image of the great fish. Zhuangzi once wrote, open quote, "The biggest fish doesn't rise to the surface, and the wisest person doesn't let their words rise too easily." Close quote. The bigger the fish, the deeper it swims. The wiser the person, the fewer their words. It's not because they don't know what to say, but because they understand. Some truths lose their depth the moment they're spoken aloud. The ancients believed that words express our life force, our qi. Speak too much, and your qi disperses. Lose your qi, and you lose the root of calm and clarity. Zhuangzi chose silence, not from a lack of wisdom, but to let life speak for itself. What is meant to be understood will be. What is meant to ripen will ripen in its own time. No need to rush it with words. The lesson. Listening is the beginning of wisdom. Wise people don't speak just to be heard. They let their depth speak for them. In every conversation, the wise don't rush to respond. They remain silent, observe, and deeply listen, and only then do they speak. And when they speak, their words are like arrows straight to the heart. Few in number, quiet in tone, but deeply moving. The world is already full of noise, yet it suffers from a lack of listening. Families break down, friendships dissolve, societies clash, all because everyone wants to speak, but few are willing to listen. If each of us could learn the art of silence, and through it, the art of genuine listening, then perhaps the world would know far less suffering. Silence is the space where true listening happens, to others and to ourselves. Without silence, we only hear through ego and reaction, not truth. Listening is the foundation of wisdom, understanding, and real compassion. Chapter 4. Silence to observe, seeing what others don't see. In a noisy world where everyone wants to speak, express, and debate, the one who chooses silence often feels like they're swimming against the current. Yet it is precisely that resistance that helps them stay grounded while others are swept away. The ancients used to say, "He who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not truly know." When we are silent, we don't get swept away by the crowd. The crowd has power, but it is not always right. When you talk too much, you're easily pulled into the emotional flow of the masses, into their judgments, and even into biases you don't realize you hold. That's why wise people often choose to take a step back, to stay outside the noise rather than be consumed by it. When you're silent, you maintain distance. And that distance gives rise to clarity. You're no longer reacting by instinct. You're not being led by the crowd. You observe and begin to notice what the loudest voices often miss. Through observation, we perceive the hidden patterns beneath the surface. The world moves in cycles. Whatever prospers will eventually decline. Whatever rises must someday fall. But those who fail to observe closely only see the surface. They admire the wealthy without understanding the cost. They look down on the fallen without knowing the journey. They panic at disruption without grasping the deeper lesson. Only those who pause to observe and reflect can see the cause behind the effect and understand that every coming and going has a deeper root. Story: a wise man in times of chaos, choosing silence to protect himself. During a time of great turmoil in ancient China, there lived a sage named Yin Fu. He was invited many times to serve the country, but he always declined. When asked why, he simply said, open quote, "In times of chaos, words can cost your life. If you can't guard your mouth, it's hard to keep your head." Close quote. At a banquet filled with officials vying for power, someone tried to trap him with a dangerous question. Open quote, "Who do you think is worthy to succeed the current king?" Close quote. He didn't answer. He simply sipped his wine, gazed into the distance, and gently changed the subject. Thanks to that silence, he avoided getting entangled in the deadly political struggle that followed. Most of the ones who spoke boldly that day ended up executed or exiled. Lesson: silence nourishes a wide, penetrating vision that words cannot reach. The ancients used to say, "The wise see 3 generations ahead, the foolish only see what's in front of them." And to see that far, we must observe in silence. Silence doesn't make us weak. On the contrary, it's when the mind becomes still like a calm lake, able to reflect everything around it with clarity. When you're silent, you begin to see why someone acted the way they did, why a particular event unfolded, and what lesson is hidden behind today's challenge. Those who talk too much only express what they know. Those who stay silent expand what they understand. Key takeaways: silence protects us from being swept away by the crowd and preserves our calmness. Observing in silence allows us to see the essence and patterns of life. In dangerous times, even one word can bring disaster. Only silence and wisdom can protect body and mind. Truly insightful people don't need to prove how wise they are. They let their clarity and way of life speak for them. Let me know if you'd like the previous or next chapter translated too. Chapter 5. Practicing silence, cultivating the mind and sharpening the intellect. The philosophy of life does not merely reside on the pages of books or in ancient proverbs. It only becomes truly alive when it is practiced in daily life. And silence, if it remains just an abstract concept, will always feel distant and unreachable. But once you begin to practice silence consciously, you'll be surprised. Peace and clarity have always been there, just waiting for you to pause and reach them. Practice suggestion 1. 5 minutes of silence each morning to listen to yourself. Have you noticed? Every morning when we wake up, our minds are already filled with noise. The things we need to do today. Lingering issues from yesterday. Hundreds of thoughts rushing around like a chaotic marketplace in your head. So, try this. Spend 5 minutes each morning. No phone, no words, no background music. Just sit still, breathe gently, and listen to yourself. You'll begin to notice emotions you didn't realize were there. Unfounded worries still clinging to your heart, and a version of you deep inside, quietly waiting for your return. That is awareness. It is wisdom, not from knowledge, but from presence. Practice suggestion 2. Speak 1 sentence less in every conversation. In each conversation, instead of saying everything that comes to mind, stop just before adding that 1 extra sentence. Just a small restraint like that will help you hear others more deeply. Realize that sometimes you speak just to fill silence, not because it's necessary. Choose your words wisely so you don't regret them later. And the strange thing is, the quieter you are, the more others want to listen. The more composed you are, the weightier your words become. Practice suggestion 3. Write 1 sentence in a daily journal. Today, what moment of silence brought me peace? Just 1 sentence, but it will help you reflect on. When did you remain silent at the right time? When did you almost say something you shouldn't? And what came from that silence? Day by day, you'll be training a mind that can observe itself. And that is the first step toward living with mindfulness and with wisdom. Story: 10 years of silence to understand the heart. In Japan, there was a renowned Zen master who spent 10 years in complete silence. People thought he was eccentric, detached from the world. But after those 10 years, he said, "I no longer wish to say things that disturb people's hearts. I only speak when there's truly something in my heart that needs to be said, and I speak with compassion." He shared that during the early years, his mind was still noisy, even though his mouth was silent. It took many years for him to realize the root of silence is not in the mouth, but in the mind. A person may appear silent on the outside, but if their heart is full of judgment, they haven't truly become quiet. Only when you can feel each movement of your own heart do you truly understand what it means to be silent. Lesson: wisdom doesn't come from speaking well, but from understanding yourself before you speak. And to understand, you must be still. The more silent a person becomes, the deeper their understanding, because they are no longer distracted by the noise of the world. They see themselves clearly, and from there, they begin to see life clearly too. Therefore, silence is not avoidance. Silence is the intentional choice of an awakened path. It is how the mind becomes calm and the intellect becomes clear. Key takeaways: practicing silence is a practical way to nourish the mind. Just 5 quiet minutes in the morning, speaking a few words less, or writing a single line in a journal can begin your journey into inner wisdom. Like that Zen master, we learn silence not to retreat from life, but to live more deeply and see more clearly. A mind untouched by idle speech is a truly free mind. Let me know if you'd like to format this for a voiceover, podcast, or video script. Summary: there are things we only understand as we grow older. Not all those who speak much are convincing. Not all arguments lead to victory. And not every voice raised will be truly heard. Silence, it turns out, is a choice, and a profoundly wise one. The more mature a person becomes, the less they feel the need to speak. The more one understands life, the less they rush to voice their opinions. And the deeper someone lives, the more they value the right silence at the right time. This world isn't lacking in eloquent talkers. It is lacking in those who understand the power of silence. We are not short on information. We are short on stillness to truly understand. Suggested daily practices: choose a moment each day to be silent, just to observe. Whether it's 5 minutes in the morning or during a meal, give your mind a little breathing space. Before speaking, ask yourself, is this really necessary? One spoken word cannot be taken back. Let every word you speak carry mindfulness. Once a week, create a space for inner silence. No social media, no arguments, no trying to please others. Just return to yourself. Silence isn't about losing connection. It's about creating a deeper connection with yourself, with others, and with the flow of life. Final message: in a noisy world, choose a quiet space for yourself. Amidst countless voices, keep a silent mind, for it is in that very silence that wisdom is born. We live in an age where everyone tries to speak up, but sometimes it's the one who says nothing, who is listening the deepest, understanding the most, and living the most awakened life. Remember, silence doesn't make you weak, it strengthens you from within. Silence doesn't isolate you, it helps you find your true self. If you're tired of endless conversations that lead nowhere, if you're searching for peace in the chaos of life, then maybe what you need isn't another word, but a moment of silence to return to the clarity within. If you found this video meaningful, hit like to help spread these timeless values. Subscribe to Ancient Philosophy and continue the journey of deep reflection through the wisdom of Confucius, Lao Tzu, Zhuangzi, and other Eastern sages. Leave a comment. What resonated with you most about the power of silence? Turn on notifications so you won't miss any life-changing lessons from the ancients shared by Ancient Philosophy. Let me know if you need this formatted as a script for voiceover or video subtitles.